and we're broadcasting. So as we welcome people, what have you been doing recently? Is there anything new that you have started recently?
No, nothing special. And especially now we are in the rainy season in Japan, so I cannot go out.
Yeah,
so it's very difficult to do new things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yesterday it was terrible weather. It's been so windy lately too.
But today it's very sunny. So
I know. It's so weird. It's so strange. It's just not very stable, the weather recently.
Yeah.
It is getting really hot though. So I see some people coming in. Welcome to our noon webinar. I'm not sure if people are joining from home or from work, but Kenta, where are you joining from?
I'm joining from my home.
Okay, yes. So you've been working from home recently, right? How long have you been working from home? Has it been a few months?
I don't know. Since this May, this March. I mean, after we know the pandemic of coronavirus, we started to work at home. So about a few months. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's been So if it's March, was it March? Did you say?
Yes, March. April,
yeah.
Yeah.
3 months about. Yeah, the same for me as well. It's been a total change in the way I work.
Yeah. But before coronavirus pandemic, I had many online meetings as well. So.
Okay. So it's not a big change for you. It's
not so big change. Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, well, welcome everybody. I'd like to get started. And welcome, Kenta. Thank you so much for being available today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. And for all of our participants, please use the chat and Q&A tool. At your navigation bar, you'll see a chat or Q&A tool. Please use it to send in questions during this webinar. Kenta is available for any questions that you might have.
Really? Okay.
All right. So let's talk about a little bit about who you are, Kenta. Tell us about yourself. What is IDATEN Ventures?
Okay. So IDATEN Ventures is a venture capital fund, and venture capital fund is investors who invest in venture companies. So the examples of venture companies are, for example, Google or Facebook about decades ago. So about 10 years ago or 20 years ago, almost nobody know what Google is, but what Amazon is.
Right.
But some venture capitalists know that, and they believe their future, and they invest in, and they support their businesses, and their businesses change the world. So we IDATEN Ventures are investing mainly Japanese startups, utilizing technology or science to change the world, change this world, better world, to better place.
Interesting. Can I ask, why did you name it IDATEN Ventures?
Oh, okay. There are two reasons. One is that I am a short sprinter on the list, so I take a part in some competition. But these days, we don't have any competition because of coronavirus. But the reason is that. And second reason is that IDATEN is actually the I don't know how to say, the student of Buddha. Yeah.
Buddha, like the religion.
Buddha. Yeah. And utilizing and IDATEN was actually could learn very fast. And IDATEN utilizing his running skill, he gathered food and delivered to Buddha. And thanks to those food, Buddha could concentrate on his, business, Buddhism. And his business changed the world somehow. And Buddha called the food as thanks to the food as because of IDATEN, he could concentrate on his business. And I want to be the kind of venture capitalist who support entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs can focus on their businesses.
Interesting. I never knew that. Thank you. That's intriguing. I didn't know that IDATEN has a Buddhist sort of connection. So yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you. Well, so you mentioned that IDATEN Ventures focuses on supporting startups that utilize mainly science and technology. But for example, what kind of startups and businesses do you support?
Okay, so I focus on the startups supporting manufacturing and logistics industries, such kind of real industries. I mean, so because I think one of the big mega trends we should focus on is that the conversion of digital world and the physical world. So, and construction and manufacturing industries and the construction industries are, I mean, from those kind of physical world, and, we should support them. That's why.
Interesting. So you're talking about like efficiency of production and maybe even like robotics and implementing these kind of new technologies to make operations more lean and efficient for these sort of big industries that have been very physical in the past few decades. Interesting. Why are you focusing so much on technology though? It's you know, you have such diverse experience and, you know, diverse expertise, but why did you focus specifically on science and technology?
Okay, so there are two reasons. One is that it's very simple. I like technology and science. And I want to do my business in the field I like because by doing so, I think I can make greater performance. This is very simple. And second, technology and science can enhance us very powerfully. They enable us to extend our possibilities or opportunities. So for example, in 1908, about 100 years ago, in the London Olympic Games, the record of the winner of 100-meter sprinting was only 10.8 seconds. After about 100 years later, now the world's best record of 100 meter is 9.5. Only about 1 second progress in 100 years. But in the same age, I mean, in the 1908, Henry Ford launched the mass production car. And those cars enabled us to run much and much faster, which expanded our possibilities a lot. So yeah, if we use technology and science correctly, we can lead better and better lives. So
you mentioned a few, I think, key points there. The first would be, you know, technology allows us to expand our human potential. I think often there's this debate about whether technology is going to replace human work. But you believe that it just only expands our capabilities. It's not going to replace us, but it supports us.
But in short term, some jobs done by human will be replaced by technologies. But in short term, so in long term, people can adjust those environmental change. So we'll develop new jobs. For example, now there are many programmers, IT programmers in the world. But about 100 years ago, there were no such people, right? So we can develop by myself, we can develop by those technologies.
Absolutely. You said in the short term, you know, people might lose their jobs as technology replaces people. But what would be the solution for that short term? Do we, you know, people who do lose their job that they've been doing for 20 years, 30 years, do you think that they can sort of easily switch to a different job, or what would be the short-term sort of solution for those people, do you think?
Yeah, it's a difficult question. I want to know the answer too. But I think one of the important things is keep learning and keep learning at the same time, keep unlearning. I mean, unlearning is that, so of course I know many things, but if I stick to those knowledge or those experiences, I cannot do new things. in that case, we have to unlearn those things and make room to get new idea or new skills or new, knowledge. So keep learning and keep unlearning is very important to survive this world.
Such interesting points, and I want to ask so many questions. So unlearning, I think that is very, very essential. What you just said, we only have a certain capacity to learn. So we need to sort of delete some old data, old information, and keep on learning and making room for this new knowledge that we're trying to take in. But how do you unlearn? How do you let go of old knowledge?
I don't know, but I try to, I don't know how to say, I try to feel, I don't know how to say. So I don't focus on myself in particular area. For example, I sometimes read, art books. I sometimes read fashion books. Like doing that, I can have many fields or many knowledge from a lot of field. And I can be keeping flexible.
Yeah, definitely. If you're always focused on your field, and in your case, science and technology, but if you're 100% focused on that, you might be like limiting yourself, and you might not be able to know what is old knowledge versus new knowledge. So you intentionally, on purpose, learn something that's completely different so that you can remain agile and flexible.
Agile, that's right,
I see, interesting. And you also mentioned earlier that, it's important that we use technology and science correctly. And I think that's a really key point. As we, as our world becomes more digital and as more and more new technologies begin to enter our lives, the way we use that technology is important as well. But what do you think is a good way to make sure that we are correctly using science and technology? Or how do you sort of judge whether a certain science or technology is being used correctly or not correctly?
That's also a very difficult question. We have to always think about those things. For example, atomic bomb, atomic nuclear energy is a very good example. So if we use those nuclear energy lightly, we can get great energy. But if we use those, if we use those technology as a weapons, we will kill many people. So we shouldn't use technology for only particular people. We should use technology for all people. Not for particular people or particular country or particular purpose.
Interesting. Yeah, I've heard some, recent progress towards that in terms of, like, for example, AI, the ethical use of AI. What is ethical and what's not ethical? I think there are some international organizations that are trying to make policies and rules. And I think that's important, what you just said. It shouldn't be for a specific group or for a specific country. It should be sort of universal, some sort of ethical code that we have on how to use these new sciences and technologies. Great, thank you, Kenta. Very intriguing points. But since you work as a venture capitalist, and you're very sort of up to date about the business trends and so on, and since our world has changed a lot because of COVID-19, what do you think are some recent sort of business trends in Japan or across the world that you've been seeing, especially in the world of startups and VCs? Any sort of trends?
Okay, so one of the trends I keep watching is as I mentioned earlier, the conversion of the physical world and the digital world. And until now, when we say startups, for example, many people think companies doing digital businesses such as GAFA or Google, Apple, Facebook, or Amazon. But actually, their business grew more and more rapidly than businesses in the physical world, such as agriculture, manufacturing, and construction. And the reason why the businesses of the digital world is so strong is that it is easy to acquire data and use those data to improve their businesses very rapidly. On the other hand, until now, it is difficult to obtain those data in the physical world. So digital businesses surpassed physical businesses. But now, thanks to the development of sensors, communications, batteries, or many kinds of mobile devices, now we can get a lot of useful data from the physical world, from physical businesses. As a result, various methods that were successful in the digital world can now be used in physical world. Digital world can be used in the physical world as well. So I expressed this phenomena as the conversion of the physical world and the digital world. So this is a mega trend in the world. So many physical businesses conversion into digital world. For example, now every cars and every appliances are being connected, and every houses and every infrastructures are being connected, which will lead to new businesses in decades, I bet.
Interesting. This word used, conversion of the physical world into a digital world, and I think increasingly it's happening in many industries, as you mentioned. And I also kind of see some trends toward like going back to the physical world. So for example, like Amazon has been, a digital massive company that focused on the digital world for so long. But now they're resuming to the physical world, meaning they're considering opening up more Amazon stores, like physical stores. And so do you think that there might come a trend where all of this sort of digitalization will come back and then go back to physical again? Or do you think it's just going to be complete conversion?
So that's the conversion, I think. So Amazon know how to utilize data or how to utilize digital technology. And with those technology, with those knowledge, they open real stores. But those real stores are, monitored by data or managed by data a lot. It looks a real store, but actually they are digital and physical conversion stores. So that's the world we will see in the near future.
That is fascinating.
So all stores will be monitored by those digital data soon, I think. All cars, all the houses, or even this kind of education program. I think.
Yeah, we are living in a world where data is the new currency, the new money, and whoever has the most data is the most successful, and data is key. And in your case, I think, you work in a field where everything is rapidly changing. And although you see some trends, you can't be 100% sure of the future. So for example, when you make the choice to invest in a certain company or not, I'm sure there's a lot of risks involved as well, because you can't really consider the future 100%. So how do you determine whether an idea or a certain business truly has potential? Like, what is your sort of criteria, or what do you look for?
Yeah, that's also a very good question. And in my opinion, it's impossible to judge if an idea truly has potential or not. But the important thing is to keep challenging with understanding that we will make failure, we will make mistakes at a certain rate. In general, so-called innovators such as Steve Jobs, so those kind of people, continue to take on many challenge. And they made a lot of mistakes, but they made some great successes. So if you keep worrying about making failures and do nothing, then nothing would happen. That won't change the world, of course. So instead of worrying, we should think and then act. And also in order to make able to many challenges, it's also very important to ensure that we don't bet everything on a single game. I mean, maintaining safety net is also very important. So as long as we secure those safety nets, all we should do is to challenge, make action. Don't think about making mistakes. Yeah.
That is such a good message, I think, for our viewers as well, regardless of whether you're working in, VCs or startup industry or not. As a professional, we need to continue to challenge, take risks, fail a lot, make a lot of mistakes, learn from them, and then understand that, the chance to fail is very high. But, among those failures, if there's at least one success, then you would learn a lot and you will progress. But what do you do when you fail, when you make a mistake, when you take a risk and, it doesn't work out and you fail? How do you learn from that mistake? What do you think about?
So yeah, it's depend on the cases. But first of all, of course, I made a lot of mistakes, but I don't think those failures. I don't think those failures as just mistakes. I mean, I think them as a new learning steps to make greater success. So yeah, but on the other hand, I think we shouldn't stick to one particular method. If we stick to only one particular method, we will destroy ourselves. So we should have a big vision. What kind of world we want to realize, or what kind of future we want to have. And in order to reach those vision, there are many paths, option A, option B, option C, option D. And if we fail to do great things on option A, we should learn new things from those options and change option B and option C, option D. I think those mindset is very important.
That flexibility too, to be able to say, okay, you know what, this is not, option A does not work. I'm going to switch to option B. And that quick thing.
Of course, it's difficult to judge if option A is useless. Yeah, but as long as we have a great vision or a great goal, we can have a wide range of, view sides. So yeah, we can pick up many options.
How Kenta, how do you come up with that vision? What was the process you went through to develop your vision?
Yeah, so in order to get a good vision, I think we should know many things. I mean, not only in the particular area. So I keep talking this kind of topic. So, but yeah, if we know many things, or if we know the fact from the many aspects, we should have a great vision, I think. So we should not stick to one thing anyway.
Interesting. Does your vision keep on evolving, like changing over time?
Yeah. So by discussing with entrepreneurs, many entrepreneurs, my vision is always changing. Yeah, depending on the mega trend, I think, or depending on technology, or depending on people's interest, or of course depending on the environmental change such as coronavirus pandemic. So yeah, I always change my vision, but not directly, not dynamically. So
what is your current vision?
So yeah, still my vision is to converge the digital world and the physical world, and to realize the better life experiences in the world.
Did your vision change due to the pandemic?
Not so much, but thanks to coronavirus, people focus on more and more on digital transitions, digital DX, digital
transformation.
Transformation, yeah. So thanks to that, I think my vision is,
Yeah, definitely. Not thanks to, I guess, but due to the coronavirus, I think the world, and especially Japan, has been forced to digitalize. And I think many companies and many people are realizing how analog maybe some of our life was and some ways of businesses were. And so we've been kind of pushed to sort of explore new options, especially digital options. So as the world changes, I do believe many visions are kind of changing. But in your case, there wasn't much big change because, I mean, digital transformation was your vision in the first place. But in terms of, you know, developing this vision, you mentioned some key points about, you know, networking with different entrepreneurs, learning from different people, studying on purpose a completely different field so that your mind can be flexible and agile. But are there any other suggestions or advice you have for our viewers who are global professionals, business professionals? What do you suggest our viewers to do to continue their self-growth?
Okay, so I have a unique mindset, I think, and I'm not sure if it's useful for listeners, but I always think that today's me makes tomorrow's me. I mean, if I try a little bit harder today, those efforts enables me to tackle more challenging things tomorrow. And those challenging things will make me grow and grow or expand my knowledge or expand my field. And in this stay-at-home era, it's easy to pretend I'm doing, but which wouldn't make any negative impact to me in short term, but in long term, it will make bad negative impact. So yeah, so I keep making effort a little bit harder every day. So here is a unique and interesting equation. So if I keep growing 1% a day, only 1% a day, how much growth will I get after a year? So this is very simple compound interest calculations. So if I keep growing 1% a day, I will get 365 power of 1.01 growth, which is about 38. So after only 1% growth every day, so I will be 38 times greater people after 1 year. Yeah, but on the other hand, if I keep degenerating 1%, I mean downing 1% a day, so after 1 year, I will be 0.99 and 365 power of 0.99 is about 0.03. It's almost zero. So if I keep trying hard today, then I will be greater tomorrow, and I will be greater tomorrow, I will be greater tomorrow. I have this kind of mindset.
That's fascinating. That is definitely a unique way of thinking about things, but also very simple.
Yeah, I think
what you do today matters, and it builds your future. In your case, Kenta, it sounds like it might be a little bit tiring too, like trying to work hard every day and grow that 1% every day might sound exhausting at times. But how do you keep up your motivation? How do you continue to be motivated?
I don't know. So first of all, I can enjoy this kind of tough things. So yeah, so I'm an athlete. So athletes have to do hard training almost every day, and I enjoy it. So yeah, it's okay. But at the same time, I will have a day off when I don't do anything. At least a day a week. So
really? Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Oh, so you said you don't do anything. What does your day look like? What do you do?
Just I do what I want to do. I mean, if I want to watch movies, just watching movies. until I'm tired of it. That's it. So without thinking, I have to grow or I have to grow or something.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to say once a month, but once a week you always have a day like that. Yeah. Interesting. So for the other 6 days though, during that week, you're continuing to focus on development, growing, doing, and taking action. And then just that one day you reset.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those days off is kind of reward for me. So I keep trying very hard 6 days so I can take rest. That kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not robots, you know, we are humans, and of course we're going to get tired, and it's important to sort of reset your mind as well. And I guess that's an athlete's way of thinking too. You push yourself, but always have that sort of rest day so that you can recover and you can also, you know, just rest your mind a little bit. That's very fascinating. And I'm also going to start opening it up for questions from our viewers. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to use either the chat tool or the Q&A tool that you should see on your navigation bar. And as we wait for questions, Kenta, I also wanted to ask you, what do you think about the future of Japan? So especially in terms of, you know, your areas, technology, science, innovation, startups, where do you think Japan is headed?
Okay, so as you know, Japan is still one of the strongest manufacturing countries in the world. Not only in the manufacturing industry, but also in agriculture or other areas. Japanese people are good at create good things. And as I mentioned earlier, now we are in the mega trend of conversion of digital world and the physical world. So we Japanese have a great potential to do new businesses by converting manufacturing industries or those kind of industries with digital technologies. But historically, Japan isn't good at making totally new things. But thanks to Silicon Valley or those innovative countries, we can learn how to converge the digital world with the physical world. So as long as we keep learning those new trends, new things, I think we Japanese can make great opportunities. And Japan is full of great possibilities. So as a venture capitalist, I bet these Japan's possibility or opportunities. And by investing in them and contributing them, I want to make this world a better place.
Absolutely. I just got a private chat. Ata is asking, what do you think are the risks or the problems that are preventing Japan from innovating fast? Like, do you think there are any maybe cultural or business or economic, financial, social reasons why Japan cannot accelerate at a very fast pace in terms of innovation?
So actually, I don't think Japan is not accelerating those innovations. So last week, we have a new report published by some research center in the world. And that's the ranking of innovative cities in the world. And Tokyo is ranked in 15th. That's not bad.
What was number one?
Silicon Valley, of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But how do you get to number one, do you think? What might be preventing us from getting to number one?
Yeah, so still many people think going good university and going good companies are good in Japan, especially my parents' generations. Those people think a lot. So people want to go to small companies or startups, and many brilliant people tend to go big companies or government in Japan. So, but Silicon Valley is totally different. So great people tend to go startups or those areas at first. So maybe this kind of mindset is a little bit we should have in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think last week, Kenta, we invited David Oberman, who works in an Israeli startup, and he mentioned the fact that in Israel it's so normal to start a company. His son started a company. His daughter-in-law has started a company. It's what everybody does. And he was mentioning that it's easy for Israelis to do that because there are so many. It's so normal to do a startup, to work in a startup. And so, do you feel that things are changing a little bit? That mindset of go to a good university, enter a big, one of the big companies, and develop your career there for 50 years, 60 years. Do you think that kind of mindset is starting to change a little bit in Japan?
Yeah, I think so. So, for example, some great students from Tokyo University now beginning startups more and more. But 20 years ago or 30 years ago, I don't think that we don't have that kind of phenomenon. So yeah, we are changing. Also, we should have a safety net. As I mentioned, in order to make challenges, we should have a safety net. So in Japan, once we make a big failure in doing business, it's very difficult to make second challenge. But in Israel, as you mentioned, doing business is very normal. So if people make a fail in their business, but they have second chance, third chance, fourth chance, they have many chances. Those things also affect our mindset.
Yeah, definitely.
We should have safety net, or government, or people around the world people around Japan should prepare those safety nets.
Absolutely. Yeah. David was mentioning, in Israel, the government funds many startups and also provides a lot of support in that area. So it requires a lot of different sort of players and people to be more open-minded, right? The government, of course, but, in general, just the businessmen and business persons also have to have that sort of open mindset of it's okay to fail. It's okay to challenge and make mistakes. It's okay to take risks. Okay, great. Thank you very much for that, Kenta. And we have another question here from Atsushi. In entrepreneur school, I learned that you should develop business plan that makes money in 5 years. But as you know, science and technology areas, it generally takes more time. So it is very difficult to get investments from investors when the timeline might be a little bit longer. What do you think about this, is Atsushi's question.
So I don't think we don't have to make those kind of business plan that will make money in 5 years. For example, Uber or Google or Facebook don't make profits in 5 years. So you don't have to consider about those profits at all. But at the same time, you have to have a good network or good connection with investors. And as long as you have great visions and you can show milestone to reaching those visions, you can attract a lot of investors. And I'm an investor too. And of course, I invest in many startups that don't make profit yet. But I believe their visions and I watched their progress. Then I think, this team will make great things in the future. So the business plan is of course important, but not only business plan, but vision or passion or those kind of things, or showing progress is very important.
Right, absolutely. And great question, Atsushi. I think also, if I can just ask another follow-up question, you're, as an investor, you're investing, of course, in the vision and sort of like the plan towards the vision, but you're also investing in the person or the people who are going to, realize that vision. And so as an investor, what do you look for in the people who are pitching to you? What kind of qualities or characteristics do you look for?
Okay, so I mainly watch three aspects of entrepreneurs. One is vision. So if entrepreneur doesn't have a vision, it's very difficult to do great things. As I mentioned, so we will make a lot of mistakes if we stick on one option or one method or one method. But if he or she has a good vision, he can try many options. So that's very important. And second is curiosity. So if entrepreneur has a curiosity, it's good because they can develop their visions or they can develop their options or knowledge or network. It's very important. So
curiosity.
Curiosity. So go ahead.
No, go ahead. What's the third one?
Okay, third one. So sorry, I forget third one. So I forget third one.
The vision and maybe passion for the vision.
Yeah.
And curiosity, the willingness to learn and acquire information.
I forget.
That's okay. If you remember later,
yeah.
Because I think those 2 points are very key. I think, and you've been saying that. I think throughout your overall message has been about have a vision, have a goal, and imagine that vision, and also be open-minded and learn new things, and that's curiosity. When you meet somebody for the first time, Kenta, how do you judge their curiosity? Like, what do you look for to see if that person is curious?
So I ask him or her many questions. And I watch their answers. So some entrepreneurs answered. So I ask them totally undifferent, unrelated questions to them. But some people who have curiosity can answer those questions. But if they don't have those curiosity, they close their windows and I don't know, that's it. So I feel that's very difficult to make great business.
Interesting. So if you're meeting with like a potential tech startup that you might want to invest in, you would ask them about, hey, do you like music? Like, have you
like that. Yeah.
Interesting. How do you think, what advice and suggestions would you give our viewers to increase our curiosity?
I don't know, curiosity. So do you think we can develop curiosity?
Well, I think so. To a certain extent, I think it is a natural sort of, you're born with a certain level of curiosity, and it might be difficult to, double it across your life. But what do you do to remain curious?
I want to be, I keep being open-minded. So, once I know something in the field, I want to know more in that field, and which lead to another field, and which will lead to another field, and So like that, we should not focus on. I say this again and again, but I should not focus on particular area.
Do you, when you explore other areas, new areas, do you read? Do you like meet people? Do you watch something? What specifically do you do? Do you read more?
I don't stick to any way. So sometimes I read, sometimes I watch videos, or sometimes I talk with people. So I don't stick to only one way.
Okay, interesting. And if I can go back to something you mentioned, I think when you were responding to Atsushi's great question, you mentioned that, it's important to have a network of, investors and to, know many people, know many entrepreneurs, know many investors. But how can somebody who is starting now create that network? What do you recommend that they do?
Okay, so first of all, those people should make output to the world. So not only, of course, inputting is very important to expand our, future world. but outputting is also important. So if you keep going outputting is, for example, writing blogs or making pitches or going events like that, and providing many things to the people. And some people will have interest in you. That's the start point.
Outputting.
Yeah,
so maybe using social media.
Yeah, that's right.
To output. Interesting. And to sort of appeal your brand, your thoughts, and your professional brand.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So we only have time for one more question, and we do have a question from Sachiho. Sachiho is asking, I've heard that the startup industry is like boys' school. Do you have any opinions or any words about this?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, we have to say that. For example, in Japanese VC industries, almost all venture capitalists are men. So I think it's strange, very strange. Even in Silicon Valley, there are many, male venture capitalists. But many people many people think that's an issue, that's a problem. So we have to change. So, for example, now we have many femtech venture capital funds led by great women all over the world. But yeah, actually, we have to challenge. We have to change the things. Yeah.
Yeah. In Japan, nowadays you hear diversity a lot. And there's so many, companies that are saying diversity is one of our values, but it's different from believing in something and then actually taking action based on that belief, I think are two different things. And, and change is many steps. So I think it's first awareness, and then second, it's education. And then you start to think about, well, how can I implement change? How can I take action to actually, make a more diverse culture or diverse, work environment for my company? So it's steps, I would think. And as you say, it's not just Japan, in the US as well. It's very male-dominated industry, the startup industry, and also just the tech industry in general. But it is changing, as you say. Great. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Kenta, and thank you for all of our viewers. Yes, so unfortunately we are out of time, but it has been a fascinating talk, Kenta, and I think me and I think also the viewers have taken note of a few tips that we can actually start doing today. So today I'm going to focus on growing 1%, and maybe tomorrow I'll take a rest.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Any last words to our viewers, Kenta?
No, I don't know.
You said everything that you wanted.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Kenta, and thank you everyone for joining. Have a lovely, lovely day and a great week. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.